Some people appear to be extremely fortunate, even with all the shattered mirrors and black cats in the world. These 10 individuals make fate appear like more than just a theory by taking their good fortune to the limit. Number 10. Morgan Bill. Even the physicians believe that Australian Bill Morgan's career was over when his automobile and a truck collided, crushing him beneath the force of the hit. Even after his family removed life support, the guy who had been declared legally dead for more than 14 minutes was miraculously brought back to life and survived after just 12 days in a coma. His luck, nevertheless, doesn't stop there. In celebration of his survival, he won a car valued at $17,000, about $25,000, and purchased a scratch-it card. The local news station was so delighted with him and his good fortune that they decided to do a segment on him on the show. He was requested to repeat the sequence by scratching out a different card, but instead, on the live program, he won an incredible $250,000 once more. Perhaps death was saying, "My bad, dude." Number 9. Robinson Edwin E. There is a 1 in 12,000 chance of being struck by lightning. However, those chances increased to 100% for Edwin E. Robinson, a 62-year-old deaf and blind man. Lightning supposedly found Robinson strolling around in the field outside his house, swinging around his aluminum cane and seeking cover under the solitary tree as it started to rain. Robinson was hit to the ground by the lightning. He lay unconscious for 20 minutes, then woke up, staggered back to his house, and went to bed for a much-needed sleep. Getting hit by lightning can tire you out pretty well. However, he found that he could see and hear normally when he woke up in the evening. When his doctor examined him later, he confirmed that he had recovered his hearing and vision, and that the rubber soles of his shoes had likely helped him survive the blast. Number 8. Jinder, Joan R. You're more likely to be hit by an asteroid than to win the lottery. Did you know that? But Joan Jinder was unfazed. She astonished scientists worldwide by winning the lottery an astounding 4 times in her lifetime. She earned multi-million-dollar rewards each time, so it wasn't just little wins of $20 or $50. She initially earned $5.4 million, and 10 years later, she added $2 million to her winnings. She won a cool $3 million 2 years later, and then an incredible $10 million in 2008. Number 7. The Yamaguchi Tsutomu. Tsutomu Yamaguchi worked for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries during World War II, which required him to travel across the nation. The first nuclear bomb was dropped in 1945 while he was on a business trip in Hiroshima. Amazingly, despite being hurt, he made it through the explosion. He then made his way back to his family in Nagasaki, where he went back to work the day after the second nuclear bomb. He may have been the unluckiest man in the world as a result, but what's astounding is that he also survived the second blast. For the remainder of his life, Yamaguchi turned into an outspoken opponent of nuclear weapons and technology. The reason that I hate the atomic bomb is because of what it does to human dignity, Yamaguchi stated in an interview. I can't understand why the world cannot understand the agony of the nuclear bombs, the speaker said later in a phone conversation. How are they going to continue creating these weapons? Number 6. DeJohn Martin. Sometimes the only reason someone survives is because they manage to stay out of danger. Still, a lot of these folks never really do. Some explain away by saying they were ill or had to attend to something else at the time, while others claim they had an odd feeling not to go. Martin DeJohn, a Dutch biker, avoided death twice by plane in just 4 months. While the tragic flight he was originally planning to take crashed midway, he changed his ticket to a cheaper trip after booking a seat on the MH17. In addition, he was supposed to board Malaysia Airlines Flight No. 370, which was abruptly rescheduled after going missing in 2014 and never being discovered. Number 5. Nichiren. A well-known Japanese monk from the 12th century, Nichiren had a big impact on how Buddhism was adapted in Japan. But he lived a contentious and turbulent existence. Because they believed his works were subversive and would threaten their authority if they were to gain traction, the authorities sentenced him to death by beheading. But in a real stroke of good fortune, Nichiren avoided certain death when the executioner raised his blade to slay Nichiren and was struck by lightning. Owing to the peculiar circumstances, Nichiren was eventually freed, yet he remained in exile and would eventually pass away at a young age. Gaining a large following and rising to prominence as a religious figure in the nation, he demonstrated that success is possible even in the face of apparent doom when destiny is on your side. Number 4. Terry Priest. Oysters are a favorite fine dining dish that is in high demand due to their flavor, texture, and occasionally even price in both restaurants and at-home kitchens. Terry Priest is enamored with them after discovering a pearl in one. Others believe them to be an aphrodisiac. Terry Priest overcame the chances of 1,000,000 to 1 by simply purchasing a few 49-pence oysters from Tesco, just like the majority of consumers. This allowed her to discover one of the pale jewels within. Her co-workers at the homeless shelter where she worked turned the pearl into a 500-pound ring as a farewell gift so that it would always be a small memento of her incredible luck. She was soon to go to Spain. Number 3. Helstrup Anders. Meteorite captured on camera by skydiver. Video shows a black rock speeding over Norway. When you skydive, you anticipate that there will be some degree of risk. I take assuming you're leaping out of an aircraft and falling to Earth at terminal velocity. There isn't anything remotely more hazardous than that. Except Anders Helstrup of Norway, who encountered a single issue: a meteorite that was speeding at him. Not only was this an incident he could tell his buddies to make them doubt his sanity, but it was also all documented on camera. It caught the interest of scientists when it was uploaded to the internet. A geologist subsequently verified that a meteoroid had erupted roughly 20 kilometers above Helstrup, and the footage captured was the first ever footage of a meteorite moving through the atmosphere after its flame had extinguished. Helstrup searched the area for the fabled space rock during the summer, but as of 2014, he has not found it. I suppose you can't have it all. Number 2. Paulsson Lena. Lena Paulsson, a Swedish woman, put away her wedding ring in 1995 so she could bake some Christmas cookies. However, she found it missing when she tried to put it back on her finger where it belonged. She and her spouse concluded that the ring was lost forever after searching for it for years. That is until Lena discovered something waiting for her in her yard in 2012, nearly 16 years later. Paulsson was pulling carrots when she was surprised to discover her long-lost ring around one of the carrots. She was so excited about this unexpected discovery that her daughter could hear her scream from inside the home. The family has been gardening for years, but the ring had not been seen. It seems that instead of planting the carrots in rows like they had in the past, they were planting them randomly this time around in the garden. It would be like winning a little bottle ring toss at the carnival if one of the seeds had landed inside the ring. Lena is just happy to have her ring back, regardless of the absurd odds that she had to overcome to get it. Number 1. Frane Selak. The luckiest, unluckiest man in the world, Croatian Frane Selak, has escaped death 7 times. He first encountered death on a January 1962 train ride. The train derailed and sank into a cold river. Despite a fractured arm and cold, bystanders rescued him as 17 others drowned. The plane crashed a year later in 1963 on his maiden and last flight. Frane survived being blown out of a defective jet door and landing on a haystack when the plane crashed, killing 19. 3 years later, in 1966, a bus he was riding and skidded off the road into a river, killing 4. However, Selak swam to shore with only minor scratches and bruises. He shot himself in the testicles 2 years later while teaching his son how to carry a gun because he didn't notice the safety was off. He lived, but not his testicles. He had fire-starting car accidents in 1970 and 1973. He escaped both situations unscathed, but for a few burned hairs. But his dying dance continued. In 1995, he was hit by a bus in Zagreb, but only received minor injuries, and a year later he swerved into a guardrail to avoid a head-on collision with a UN truck on a mountain road. Frane was flung from the automobile as the door flew out after the railing broke. He watched the automobile plunge 300 feet into the ravine. Even better, Frane Selak won $1.1 million from the Croatian National Lottery 2 days after turning 73 in 2003. Nice birthday present. So this is the end of our today's video. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.